Cheers.
Tells you cheers.
You're here.
In the eyes still. Yeah. There you go. In the eyes.
So tell me how this is now. What is it? Is that a thing?
In the eyes, yeah. Not with each other.
That's not breaking.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Keith Frankel, and this is Confounded, the show in which Boston founders share stories about the times when it all went wrong. Today, my guest is Dave Balter. He's the founder of BuzzAgent, Smarterer, and now Milestone. So join us as we talk obsession, imposter syndrome, and what to do when you find yourself no longer needed.
So Dave, tell me what I'm missing here. Founded and sold 2 startups, BuzzAgent and Smarterer. Pretty active angel investor here in Boston. You're a venture partner at Boston Capital.
Yep.
And probably the most important one, and also the most recent one, you were just voted top 30 most influential people in Boston tech by Boston Magazine. Huge feather in your hat, I'm sure. Is that everything? What am I missing so far?
So I never planned on being an entrepreneur. Found my way into starting companies. Ended up building, this will be my 7th company, which is a company called Milestone. I've built a few, sold a few, have become a venture partner, invested in about 50 startups, and that's what I do.
And you know, this series, this show we want to do, Confounded, is really about trying to talk to Boston founders and discuss those moments when the ship is sinking, water is flowing in, and you're tired of being the guy chucking water out. You just wish, okay, where's the safety boat?
Yeah, why are we doing this?
Yeah, exactly. Why do you keep doing it?
For me, I mean, for me, it's about obsession. Like, I can't, things get too loud in my head, and I can't get rid of it until I have to solve it. And I know that sounds a little trite, but it's like I don't really choose. Underneath that, it's a lot of pain, and there's no question that it's trying and hard and all the rest, but it's also your own thing, and so you get the right to create something in whatever way you think makes sense. You help a lot of people grow, and frankly, if it works, you make a lot of people money, and that's a pretty fun thing to do if you can do it.
To you, it's a question of just the passion for something. Will you stick with this when the going gets tough?
Yeah, and that doesn't solve all either. I got lots of people that we've invested in, or that we've seen that are super passionate and can't figure it out. Right? It's just your sort of perfect matrix is like obsessed to no end, and then has the capacity to figure it out. Right? There's another side of the matrix which I can't quite figure out, which is the choice between. It's not really a matrix anymore. It becomes like a a pentagram or something.
Z dimension.
But it's whether you're an asshole or a good person. And I've debated this with a lot of people where some of the most complex or difficult people are very successful and probably got their way there, right? Because of it. I will be difficult.
Okay.
And for people who've worked with me, I have my ways. I want to get things done. I will be relentless, all the rest. My problem, I actually see, is I actually care too much about what people really think. And so when I talk about this we call it assaholicism. There's a type of person who just doesn't care what you think. They're just going to get done what they want to get done.
Doesn't care what anyone thinks.
Yeah. And I think that's a huge asset in a lot of ways. I will be difficult, but I'm always worried about, well, did I upset them? Or they walked out the door, maybe they don't like me anymore or whatever. I think that's a weakness.
So, BuzzAgent, 2003 founded?
2001.
So tell me the story of how you found this.
So I'd come out of my previous business and never, ever, ever wanting to do a startup again.
Really?
Horrible time. Went through the .com, had to wind it down, sold off assets, lost a bunch of people some money. So, and really partner issues, all the stuff.
Everything that could go wrong.
I was reading at the time The Tipping Point, and I got obsessed, like we talked about a minute ago. Had a light bulb moment, and literally, it was. Some of these are just they're crisp enough. Like, this is how this business should work. To me, BuzzAgent was relatively similar. It was like, find a brand, send the product from that brand to a person. That person gets it. They're going to create word of mouth naturally. We don't even have to do anything, and then we collect the data. So I went and got. I had the idea. and two things really happened that set the course of the business. One was about 200 investors said no. What that did for us is it made us build a real company, because we looked at it and said, okay, well, I guess we'll have to build something that we can sell. We're gonna sell for more than it cost us to make it.
Yeah.
It was like old school business.
How were you funding this at the time?
I'd put 30 grand of my own
Off
money
of what you made from whatever was from
the
selling
former
off
thing.
the
Right,
first
we'd
one.
sold like the clients to make a little bit of money over time, and so I had some money. But it was like that was my money. It was like 30K. Yeah.
All right, so eventually you raise money and you start bringing in some senior level talent.
But we do a financing round. We raised about 14 million.
Yep.
And classic post-raise, they look at the company and say, okay, now it's time to like build a real team. You've got these great co-founders, all the rest, but like you need a head of sales, a head of marketing, a COO, Dave Wagner, a COO, all these people. So what naturally happens is the team comes in, they all say, all right, I'm here to do my job, so I'm going to build the marketing team, et cetera. Anyway, there's probably about 50 people in the company, and every day I come in trying to do something, and so I'd come in and I'd like go to sell something. I'm a sales guy, so I go to sell something, and Bird would be like, "Dude,
Back off.
like I got it.
Yeah,
you got to
all
let
good.
me do my job." Like,
Yeah.
I go, "Okay, all right, cool. All right." So I'd scamper over here, and then I'm like, "Oh, the brand needs to be X," and John McGay would be like, "Hey, listen, cool, it's cool, but I'm on it."
Yeah.
And so slowly I started like truly not retreating into my office. And they'd finally given me an office, which I hated. I was alone. I felt very alone. Anyway, I was in this big like glass cube, and I start hiding behind my computer. And what was actually happening is I had gotten addicted to online backgammon. Not kidding, on Pogo.com. I was very good at it, but got very good at it. So I would sit for like 6 or 7 hours a day playing online backgammon. Now the company outside of the walls was growing like this,
It's doing
and
great.
all these people are doing their things, and I'm in there frightened to death because I have no idea what's happening or why, and who am I going to tell after all this happens? Like, I don't know what I'm doing, and I don't know, they're doing their job. I don't even know what job I'm supposed to do anymore.
Imposter syndrome?
Complete imposter. It was beyond imposter. I was like, imposter is, I shouldn't be in this seat. This was more, I think I should be in this seat because I got us here, but no one's ever said, this is what you do when you're in the seat, right? And everything up to them was just fight, like fight to the top, get it done. Now it's like, oh, there's a company and everyone has expectations, but no one's really gonna sit you down and say to you, by the way, you probably don't know what you're doing, right? So I called Jeff, and he gave me awesome advice, which I still use to this day. He said, I want you to write down 5 things that only you can do for the business. And at the time it was like computer screen. So he said, I want you to tape it to your computer screen, your monitor, and I want you to come in every day and look at it. And if you find yourself doing something that's not on the list,
Fascinating.
delegate it. And if you find somebody else doing something that's on the list, take it from them. Okay, really simple stuff. Made you first think about what things could I do or should I do. Create the culture, manage the vision, mission, vision, values of the company. Recruit talent, right? Exactly. Yeah. So, but you say it like it's obvious, but until someone says it to you at a certain stage, you're not conscious that that's your thing.
Totally, yeah.
You just think, I've recruited people before, not like, I better recruit. So I did that, and that got me out of backgammon mode and into growth mode. So 08-09 was pretty hard. We laid off half our staff in Q2 2009. Three riffs. We cut 3 times. It was horrible.
3 round of layoffs.
Yeah,
Talk me through that. So when was the first round?
So we did the first round. The Q4 of 08 was our best quarter ever through that era.
Wow.
Q4 of 08. And so we had a syndrome, I don't know what you call it, but like we believed we were untouchable. Like, look, everyone else is cracking and look at us. So we did a 10-person riff. Because we were like, it's smart, we got a little bloated, we overspent, classic, raise too much money, you overspend.
How did that make you feel? First layout, set around.
Well, that felt great because
Really?
Well, because
So you are a little bit of a dick.
I am a dick. No, riffs are I'm not definitely more than a little bit of a dick. Let's be clear. But but I care if people think I'm
Got it. Okay. That's the problem.
That's the problem. Okay, so riffs like that are great because you're able to do two things. You're able to get rid of people you don't like, okay? And you grow a company to 80, 90 people, there's people you just don't like, and it's going to happen. And
because you didn't hire everybody.
You didn't hire everyone, and you know what? I think they grew over time. They became a jerk or whatever.
Got it.
Then there are people that just don't fit, and so you're able to do some adjusting and give other people room to grow. So those riffs are great. That was like a protective riff. We then Q408 was great. Q109, was like off a cliff. It was like our revenues went down by like 50%, and then Q209 another 50%. So in Q2 we did another riff, which was about 30 people. Very painful.
What percentage of the company is that?
That was probably a third of the company.
So you let it lay off. This is your second. First was need to get rid of them.
Yeah,
Let's
it was like a tightening.
Yep. Yeah. Second one, 30% of the company is suddenly gone.
Yeah.
And they're gone because they have to be.
People knew, and we had $5 million in the bank. We weren't like, out of money, but it was like we're in trouble. Okay, and so we coordinated this riff, and I go to the board meeting right after. It was probably like 2 weeks after, and it was like, you go through a riff, you're emotional, and I remember sitting with the board and talking about it, and one of the board members was this guy, Tom Beecher, who was a CFO at the time. He's now CEO of Carterra Commerce, great guy. Anyway, he looks at it and he says, end of the meeting, he says, you need to lay more people off.
This is right after.
This is right after. I'm like, what? I'm like, okay. And he's like, I'm like, why? And he's like, because you're gonna be in a cash flow death spiral. You can't see it. Looks like you have $5 million, but because of the way the numbers are working, you're eventually gonna start your costs are just gonna eat the business, and you won't get out of it. Yeah. And so I'm like, okay. I'm like, cool. Why don't I keep the business moving by the next board meeting? And he said, no, you're in real trouble. I mean tomorrow. Okay, so we came out and we discussed. We came out of the meeting, and a week later, we laid off another 20 people. So the problem really is the first riff you say, this is it. It's just a tightening. The business is going to do great. The second riff you say, we cut deep. It's going to be fine.
It was hard, but we made it.
And then the third riff, no one trusts you because they're like, you just told us.
No one is safe.
Right. And then about a year and a half in, I had a board meeting, and I thought it was a 20th board meeting with this group. I'll never forget. We were going to wear birthday hats to show you how out of touch we were, as a joke. We were going to and we were in disarray. Like we're going to come in and celebrate. It didn't make any sense. Anyway, we come in. My chairman after the meeting sits me down and says, "Okay, I'm going to tell you what I was told to tell you, and then I'm going to tell you what actually happened." And so, which is a great board member. So he said, "Here's what I was told to tell you. Keep going. You're working hard, etc. Blah, blah, blah. What actually happened is that was the worst board meeting you've ever had, and it's time to sell the company." I really I thought my board was awesome and great, and I hear a lot of this now. Like my board said this, I fought him, all the rest. Like get a good board and trust him. They were right. It was time, and I had to do something about it.
Yeah.
And so we spent some time and eventually sold the company.
So you don't want to look past what you're focused on now, but how many more of these do you have in you? You certainly have some scars, but good ones.
Yeah.
You would hope, maybe some bad ones. But you've been through several of these now, and you invest in other companies and other guys like you and other ladies trying to make this thing happen.
Yeah.
You're doing another one. At what point will you say enough, or is this who you are? Is this what you're going to keep doing?
I never intend to do the next. It's not like my plan is like, okay, I'm going to have 5 companies and whatever. It's like this thing happens and I'm obsessed. I have, and we're not going to talk about it, but I have another idea now that I'm obsessed about and this is what I found my pattern, that I will build this company, and somewhere along the way, that obsession will grow, and hopefully this company does what it needs to do, and I'll maybe begin the next one. It's possible, and I'm trying to ignore this one thing that's in my head now, but I don't know if I can. I don't know. I don't know. Yeah.
Awesome.
Okay.
Well, dude, I cannot thank you enough for coming and doing this with us. I can't say it's a tradition that we do this on Confounded, but kind of in the spirit of the show for the inaugural episode.
Okay.
We have some shots of tequila.
Okay.
Don't know what type it is. Don't care.
Did you
we're
get
going to do this either way.
Well level? Did you get good tequila?
We're our executive producer. We have poor tequila
what kind
or great
of tequila?
George Clooney
Oh, I love
George
good tequila.
Clooney, yeah.
Casamigos.
Yes.
Yeah, good tequila.
I heard you were a party planner.
Like Casamigos.
yeah. Tech prom.
I know
I've
the
heard
deal.
stories about
Yeah,
tech prom.
Okay.
Well, cheers. Thank you so much, man.
Thanks for
You're
having
the best.
me. Yep. You're going to tell them it's 10 a.m.
Yes, yeah.
Okay.